Houston's been a team who has always been a difficult opponent for us. I think Benny's done a great job with them. They have a clear way of playing that suits the players they've brought in very well, and they don't deviate and do different things, and so it's a difficult team to defend. It's also a difficult team if you don't play fast and if you don't push the tempo. It's a difficult team to break down, and so it's nice to finally play them with a full week of training. Every time we play them, it's always a midweek game or some strange storm on its way, or directly over.
We're gonna have weather this weekend.
Yeah, so it seems to be the theme. But it's nice to have a full week of training to prepare for this game. They've made some additions, some good players, and have added to their already prolific attack. So we have our hands full for sure. But I always love playing them. It's a good matchup for both sides. I think it's usually creates an exciting match, and looking forward to it. And we look to improve on some of the areas we fell short on against St. Louis, but I also saw a lot of good things against St. Louis and against Portland, and we look to build on that and improve on the other areas.
Thank you. And just a reminder to those on Zoom, please raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. We'll start on site with Max Bretos.
The good and the bad of being able to watch the game kind of is away from the coaching box. What are the things that you kind of enjoyed in that situation? What are the things that you're like saying, I wish I was closer to the guys?
Well, the best thing is I was able to watch a LAFC home game with my family, with my wife and kids. That was great. It's not maybe something I need to do every week. I like also being on the sidelines, but that was a great experience. But again, maybe once in a career is fine for me.
How do you think Ante faring, but even that conversation, how much is it close to where he could express himself, or how much is it the system that was in place?
Look, I don't know. I'm not on the sideline, so I can't really answer your question. I do know that I was here every day in training prior to the match. I write the match plan, we create the tactics, talk to the team beforehand, and so what happens on the sidelines through the 90 minutes is a question for the coaching staff. Mark and Enrique and Oka are very engaged. And we as a staff have always accomplished things as a staff. There's never really just one opinion and my way or the highway. So it's always been a collective effort, and I'm pretty sure that's the way it went down last week as well.
But it's also good for Ante. This is your week. You do those final preps. You kind of steer this team to where you want that final product for the game.
I'm not sure where you're going with this. What was the question again?
No, but for Ante, this is a good opportunity. This is your week where you're going to be coaching the team. You lead the guys as you see it.
Yeah, look, all the prep we did as normal, and so everybody, and the warm up as well. Everybody assumed their roles we always have. But yeah, again, I'm not allowed to be in the locker room 90 minutes prior to the game, and that's where Ante, Mark, Enrique, and Oka took over.
The new guys, now that you've had them a week, and Ryan, I've seen them out there, how do you see their contributions and where they're coming along?
Both of them. Frankie is further along fitness-wise than Ryan, and both are contributing. You can see the quality in both players and why we decided to bring them in and to increase our depth and quality in the team. Both are players who have great mentalities, who are workers, but technically proficient, and we think are good fits for our model here at LAFC. Both are aggressive players, have qualities on both sides of the ball, and both understand this league and have positive and a lot of experience in this league.
Thanks, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Last call for questions online. Josh, go ahead.
Thank you. Hey, Steve. Ante, after the match, speaking to us, was pretty direct about a few things. One thing that he stood out to me was talked about the team trying passes or attempting passes that are not tried in practice, not thought about in practice. Is that something you saw as well, sort of out of characteristic attempts on the field, and what do you owe to that? What do you think is responsible for that?
No, I don't really agree with that statement. I think I don't know the exact quote, but I think I'm interpreting what you're saying correctly. Or I know our coaching staff and what we talk about. I think what was meant was the players were trying things they shouldn't try. That also happens in training. And our attacks were rushed at times, and we weren't quite set and ready to go, and we were sort of forcing the issue at times. And I'm 100% positive that's what Ante was referring to, and not how you explained it.
All right, fair enough. What do you think the reason for that was, the way that you guys discuss it?
Well, part of it is going down in the scoreline and losing and lacking composure, and it's just a little bit of it's not a whole lot off. I think our XG was high. We created enough chances. Statistically, that game is a blowout. There's no chance that you should tie that game or even come close to losing that game. And so we're not misfiring by much. It was just a few poor decisions and execution in the final third or in front of goal, which changes the trajectory of that game and scoreline. So by no means were we unhappy with that performance.
Okay. If you look ahead to this month, 7 matches, obviously some big tests. Vancouver is the best team in the league and clearly just made the Champions League final, so they're playing great. But there seemed like some opportunity here, 3 bottom teams in the West, worst team in the East over this stretch. How are you looking at this month that's pretty compacted? And what are you hoping that you see out of this team over the course of May?
Yeah, we need to be in the business of gathering points and climbing the table. And that's what we're concerned with. Yes, we look at performances, but we need to win games. And we need to start Saturday against Houston.
And as you referenced, they've been difficult sometimes to play with some circumstances that you can't control, but none of those things seem to be in the cards for Saturday. How do you think you set up with them, your full strength against what they're offering? What does that matchup look like?
Yeah, more of the same. So they're obviously a possession-based team. They're really good at combining through the middle of the park. They have some weapons on the right. A good setup with Dorsey and McGlynn. Dorsey giving some depth and verticality, and McGlynn underneath. You have to be wary of his left foot as a passer and finisher. And they've added obviously some quality up top and shaded towards the left. But Bossy is always a handful. So they have many ways to break you down. But for us, it's really about making the game about ourselves and not so much about Houston, and really pushing the tempo and playing as fast as possible, but still under control.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a good start. I've been here. Today was my 3rd session. It went really well, helping the team prepare for the match on the weekend. And I was at the match against St. Louis. It was an amazing vibe and an amazing atmosphere within the stadium. So, yeah, excited to get out there and help the guys.
Perfect. Again, if there are any questions online, please go ahead and raise your hand. But to keep things going, what attracted you to playing for LAFC? And what has the club done to make you feel like this is the right place to continue your career?
Yeah, I mean, being in the league, this is my 6th year playing in this conference. The whole time, I have a good understanding of the club and what they're about. And I think it really aligned with what I want to do, and that's winning at all costs. I think this is a club that wants to go into every single competition and win, and not just participate and compete. I think this is a club that wants to go after every trophy, which directly aligns with what I want. Obviously, I have relationship within the coaching staff with Mark. He's the one that brought me into Vancouver, and then a former teammate here in Thomas SL. So speaking to them, them explaining to me, what the club's about, the quality, the level of the club. Yeah, it really attracted me to be here. And at the end of the day, LAFC's one of the biggest clubs in this continent. So it's a great honor to be here, and like I said, I'm excited to get out there and help the team win.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's go to questions online, starting with Josh Gross. Josh, go ahead.
Thank you. Hey, Ryan, welcome to LA.
Thank you.
Obviously, not this match, but the next match is in Vancouver, and they've had a tremendous season so far. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, what you're seeing from your old club, and what do you make of them making the CONCACAF final?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I've watched them the whole way. I wasn't able to watch the match last night, but look, it's a group that has been together for a very long time. It's a group that's very close inside and outside the locker room, and it's a bunch of guys that are all pushing in the same direction. So I think from what I've heard from them, they're loving the new coach, and I think they've all bought into what he wants from them. So it's great. It's great. I still speak to a lot of them on a daily basis, so it's great to see them go out there and be in the final representing MLS.
Yeah. Over the last couple of years, it seemed like Vancouver and LAFC played each other almost every weekend. I mean, there were so many matches where you were meeting each other inside the league, and then the various tournaments you'd end up playing, the playoffs you'd end up playing, Decision Day, and then you get the playoff series.
Yes.
Were you, I was almost wondering from an LAFC perspective were you tired of seeing Vancouver? Were you tired of seeing LAFC? And what did you make from what you were seeing across the field about, that side and how difficult it is to play them?
Yeah, that's funny. I think we were thinking the same thing. In every draw, we had LAFC, whether that was Leagues Cup or playoffs. Felt like we were playing LAFC every other game. It's a team that I don't think anyone is looking forward to really play against, because the quality of the players that are within the club, the atmosphere that the fans bring. Win or lose, the fans are going. I was really surprised. St. Louis obviously conceding first. The fans keep going. The fans keep raising the energy, and that for sure helps the guys on the field. I don't know if any players allude to that, but having the fans support regardless of the situation is massive for the players, and it helps with the rhythm on the field. So I think it's a difficult stadium to come in and play. Like I said, we were never looking forward to coming here to LA and playing them because, like I said, the quality of the players and the atmosphere that the stadium brings.
Yeah, and last one for me. It's a small sample size for you, being able to work with the team in training, but where do you think that you fit in with this midfield group, and how do you think that you add to what the coaching staff has to work with?
Yeah, I just finished a meeting with the coaching staff and them explaining to me exactly what they want and how they see me benefiting the system. And I think I'm the perfect fit for the system. It seems like the team wants to be, in your face, high press. And I'm a player that enjoys to do that dirty work and get pressure on the ball, win the ball higher up the field. And then attacking, I think I bring a lot of creativity to the attack. You see there's a lot of talent in the front line in LA, and I think with my crossing ability and passing ability, I'll be able to help unlock those players. Positionally, I see myself on either side. Fullback actually, so left back or right back. I think I just bring something different than the guys that are currently playing there. So it's a good group of players on both sides. So it's going to be good for competition. That's what you always want in a team. You want competition. You want guys to push each other for the roles, and I think that's what we'll have here.
And just real quick, Steve said that he thinks you need a little bit more time. Where are you in your fitness, and how soon do you think you'll be able to contribute?
Yeah, I feel good. Obviously, it was a long off season, so I'm gonna need a bit of time to adapt to how the team wants to play and better understanding the identity of the team. But I think obviously another issue comes with work visa. Being a Canadian here in the States, I'm not sure. I've never played here before, so I'm not exactly sure how long that process will take. But I'm sure once that gets sorted, I'll be able to help the team.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And you're aware of our rich Canadian tradition here of
Yes.
players.
Yes.
How's that LAFC viewed north of the border when you were, and obviously playing them a lot over the times? What was your perspective of the club?
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's one of the biggest clubs in the continent already in the short history of the club. I think the club really have that swagger to them. I think a lot of teams hate to play LAFC. They hate to come into the stadium because they know what's waiting for them. And like I alluded to earlier, that's the talent that they have on this team, as well as the atmosphere within the stadium. So being on both sides of it now, coming here and playing as a player, and then even last week against St. Louis, watching in the stands, it's a difficult place to play, and it's a difficult place for other teams to come here and pick up points. So as the home team, I think we really need to embrace that and treat it as our fortress. Really expecting 3 points at every home match because, like I said, with the quality of players, that should be the goal.
Join late and asked Logan. I don't want to ask it.
It's going to be important for us to focus on taking care of what we can take care of. We know that we want to get 3 points at home, and there have been a couple games in situations where we felt like we could have gotten more out of them, and so we don't want to leave anything left on the table this time around. We know that it's been a challenging season to date with a lot of games and a lot of obstacles, but at the same time, we don't want to continue to think about that. We have a lot of room to build into and to be right where we want to be towards the midway point and beyond.
Thank you, and just a reminder to those joining us on Zoom, if you have any questions for Jeremy, please use the raise your hand function. We'll go to another question real quick. You recently made your return from injury. How are you feeling? And what are your expectations for yourself with a busy month on the horizon?
Yeah, the expectation is always just to be ready for whenever your number's called and making sure that you're making the most out of that opportunity, both for yourself and making sure that you're setting up your teammates to, just continue to execute as a team. I think for me, most important is going to be rebuilding the rhythm. I felt that the beginning of the year was a steady build in the right direction. There were obviously some hiccups along the way personally and for the team, but rediscovering that rhythm and that comfort with the guys and making sure that I'm part of the group that's pushing our entire unit forward.
Jeremy, just dealing with an injury in season. What are in your career you've had? What are the things that you tell yourself don't fall into that? Make sure you come back too quickly, or the things so you're in the most comfortable position when you return.
I think the biggest challenge that anyone has when they're injured is the fear of missing out. Missing out on the opportunities to play, the big games that we had while I was missing, and the camaraderie that the group is building, which always pays off at the end of the season when things are tough and you got to find a way to extend your season. So missing out 4 weeks for me was challenging, but at the same time it's a very warm and open group, and I knew that if I did my work to make sure that I was healthy, that they'll be ready to welcome me back. And so now it's just working together to continue to maximize our individual skill sets as we go into a more busy period and hopefully come out in the place that we want to be.
What have you seen from the team, specifically in the last 2 weeks, and you obviously got to take the field about where the offense is producing more? What are the things you think the club has been focusing on more, where they can get more offensive contribution from you and from everyone else?
I think we've been focusing a lot on the fact that teams are going to defend in a low block against us, especially when they come to BMO. that's not to say that we won't get pressed from time to time, but teams have been comfortable in a low block and challenging us to break them down. And so to see how we've been able to be aggressive at times and create more chances, that is something that's encouraging. But now we have to finish those chances on a more regular basis, and that's going to fall on, the attacking unit, myself included, to, alleviate some of that pressure that comes onto the back line and just our defensive phase of game if we're not finishing those chances early on. We know against a team that is going to hit us on the counter at home, which, again, a few teams have done this season already. If they do get ahead of us, then it's a chasing game, and then we start to open ourselves up and we give them more opportunities and belief. So that's really what I'm looking at and reflecting upon.
What was your perspective on the Denny equalizer? Because it looks like you got detached and screaming for it, but then he was able to bury it. But how did you see that develop and Denny's finish?
When I'm chasing a play as a striker, I'm always looking for where the open space is going to end up being. I don't want to crowd my guy going 1v1 first of all, so I'll never run towards him unless at the very end he just really needs someone to just be there in a kind of trailing role. And then I'm always looking at where the opposite winger is going as well. And so I think I saw Nate sprinting, trying to get even with the last line to try and get an early cross. And so for me, that says don't try and get in between Denny and Nate. That says kind of wait and see where it develops. I felt like I was in a good position to get a cutback if he needed me. And when he scores, then you don't really ask any other questions. If there's no goal, then we can, have a conversation about how I might be open in that situation. And the three players that kind of are making it tough on him, how can we just put him in a situation where he's more 1v1 rather than 1v3? But, he manages those situations the way he does, and that's how he's gotten the goals and accolades that he has. So as we just all have to find ways to complement each other, and at the same time, we have to just trust each other. So I trust that if he's taking a shot, it's because he sees the opening that maybe I'm not seeing from his angle, and then he'll know that if I'm in a position and I'm asking for the ball and he doesn't see a shot, that he can trust me to bury that one as well, like we all do with some of the other guys too.
That's interesting. The cataloging of what's happening, though. Thanks for sharing that.
There's a lot happening,
yeah.
And that's why you can never it's really easy to watch on TV and say, he should do X or he should do Y, but the reality is when you're flying, in his case, at the speed he is, head down, dribbling past one guy, dribbling past another guy, it's just too much going on to expect someone to see the full picture. So as long as they see the picture that gets the most out of the situation for the team, then that's what's most important.
All right, we'll next go online to Daniel Olea. Daniel, go ahead and unmute.
Gracias. Jeremy, ¿qué tal? Gracias por tu tiempo. Se llega a este partido ante Houston como segundo consecutivo como local. Obviamente la meta es ganar, pero que también es importante para el grupo no solo tener los 3 puntos, sino encontrar ese equilibrio que la gente todavía sigue esperando. Se tienen buenas actuaciones, se pierde mal, y qué tan importante será encontrar ese balance.
Lo más importante cuando estamos en casa es siempre ganar el partido y tomar 3 puntos. Tenemos un estilo de LAFC que tenemos que mostrar también, pero estamos en un momento en la temporada donde los 3 puntos son muy importantes, especialmente en casa, y eso es lo que yo estoy enfocado. Pero también el equipo sabe que tenemos que hacer un juego que va a dar mucha felicidad a la afición y a la ciudad para que ganamos en estilo. Entonces los dos son importantes y 3 puntos en fin de partidos es lo que queremos más.
Y por su parte, ¿qué retos presenta Houston Dynamo como rival? Sobre todo en la última actuación que se tuvo en casa de San Luis, y hacer respetar precisamente eso, la posición como local.
Houston es un rival complicado. Sabemos porque hemos jugado un partido contra ellos en Houston y ellos nos ganaron, entonces tenemos que respetar lo que ellos pueden hacer en la cancha, pero también sabemos lo que podemos hacer especialmente en casa y con confianza. Entonces es nuestro objetivo de conseguir la confianza muy temprano en el partido y de no hacer un partido de ida y vuelta o que está muy abierto. Sabemos que tienen jugadores que pueden hacer daño y como vimos contra St. Louis, si no estamos enfocados en algunos momentos y también no estamos de buena manera en las definiciones, entonces puede ser partidos complicados que no queremos en casa ahora.
And a few last questions from Josh Gross. Josh, go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Jeremy, for the time. You were out 4 weeks, and all we knew was a leg injury. Do you mind expanding on what was the issue and how you suffered that injury?
It was an adductor injury that I suffered in training. Just, yeah, not ideal. But we moved through it, and I had good support all around, and now I'm ready to go.
Great to see you back.
Thank you.
As far as Steve's announcement, how did you take that? How did you process that? And what do you think that means for the team moving forward through the rest of the season?
I think the most important thing is that we focus on honoring that decision as a club and making sure that we give it our all to make this a memorable season. I know that there are guys who have been here for much longer than I have, and I can see those relationships and how they've developed, and the successes and the lows, and how that's really formed a core unit that trusts each other. And for me, as one of the newer guys, it's trying to find my place in that balance and making sure that I keep the boat going in the right direction. For me, the announcement should give us motivation to end a story on the right note.
Thank you.